Yeah, Knick, that's a good, subject. That is a good subject. So, you, talking about platformers. So, I mean, really famous Cave Story falls under really famous. Depends on where you draw the line on, really famous, of course, but, Spelunky, that's what Frag plays a lot too, of course. VVV is definitely fairly famous as far as indie platformers go, but it's quite good. Definitely recommend that if you haven't played that. Shovel Knight is excellent. That is an excellent platformer for sure. I bet I know what this is. Thanks, Cancel. We will add a short hike to the list. Appreciate it, sir. Hey, Thomas. Super Meat Boy, well known as well, but excellent. Knit Stories is more obscure. This has an asterisk because I don't know how well it's going to run on a modern resolution. So I don't like that. That's a nice like about the most bare bones Metroidvania you could have in a good way, though. But I don't know how well that's going to run on a modern system, but I enjoyed it a lot when I played it back in the day. This is an interesting one. If you want something obscure that's unique, Sout is a one-button platformer that I enjoyed quite a bit. Descent the platformer is also very obscure and short and enjoyable. No, Within a Deep Forest is, like, kind of long in comparison, Ancient Guru, I would say. Like, Knit Stories, like, you could do an episode of Knit Stories in, like, 45 minutes or an hour or something like that. Whereas Within a Deep Forest, like, that's, like, a 6-hour game or something, isn't it? Like, you've got, like, all these marble upgrades that progress a lot more and stuff. And, this, Sout and Descent are both free, to be clear, so you won't find those on Steam. You'll have to, like, this is on Game Jolt, I think, probably for both of those, too. Hey, Library. Game Maker's Toolkit Jam. I saw, Mark Brown tweeting about, that, but I haven't looked at the, any of the entrants and stuff, though, no. Flappy Bird isn't really a platformer, though, Lance Fighter. I know it's kind of a somewhat vague distinction when you're talking a one-button game anyway, but, yeah, so how Sout works is you basically, like, you press a button to jump, and then you slide for a bit after the jump, so you kind of need to time when, like, how much you're sliding. So it's obviously not crazy deep or anything. It's a one-button game, but it was fun. I like the mechanic. And it wasn't an endless runner. No, that would be another way to do it. Yeah, Cannibal. I never really loved Cannibal, but I do like a lot of Cannibal's design. Like, there's a lot of subtle things that make Cannibal's design good. So Electronic Superjoy, Squirrel mentioned that earlier, that's a good platformer as well. Solid platformer I enjoyed. Chimera Destroy All Monster Girls, this is another free one. This one's very similar to Shovel Knight. This is kind of, yeah, like a free version of Shovel Knight, but it's still very good. I liked it a lot, and yeah, that one's on Steam as well. And yes, this is one that, like, it's got, like, just a little, like, costume DLC thing you can buy to support, and I was like, yeah, I like this game. Like, I bought that, like, before we even finished playing it mid-stream. Yeah, we speedran Chimera a little bit, because it's just a lot of fun. And it's even got some good humor in it. And here's, like, the, like, classic era section, right? This section of 8s that's like GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, Soul Blade. Because I think they're sorted by, like, the order stuff was added to the database, so that stuff ended up all grouped together. Just kind of find that a little bit funny. Fez is a puzzle game, not a platformer, but if you want to extend the definition, it's good. Teslagrad is a puzzle platformer that leads more on the puzzle side, so probably not in this conversation. Also, I probably overrate this game, but I liked it. Shu. Don't think I'm familiar with that one, Squirrel, no. Nice, Labor. So, Ori and the Blind Forest, liked it quite a bit. It had a weird control issue that I'd never heard anyone else complain about, so it probably wouldn't bother you there. And I think the in-game pacing has some difficulty issues, but overall, it's a gorgeous game with some really satisfying parts for sure. Yeah, see, that seems perfectly reasonable, Ancient Guru. Like, I feel I enjoyed Teslagrad more than most people, right? Like, it just happened to really click with me when I played it. But it's certainly not without flaws. Let's see. Out There Somewhere. That is about an hour-and-a-half platformer that is quite cheap and nicely executed little platformer with a teleport gun mechanic. Yeah, we speedran that for a while too. That one was fun. Walk in the Dark is another good obscure pick. That one is... Yeah, I mean, we got the descriptions here. I could just read what I wrote 3 years ago, whatever. It is definitely heavily inspired by Super Meat Boy and VVVV. It isn't as good as either of those games, but it's still a thoroughly enjoyable platformer. Has some good music. Stargard is a flash platformer that actually controls well, which is kind of a feat on its own. This one's only like a 20-25 minute game or something. I still have the world record in this game, actually, if we're talking about speedruns. And then we've got Rayman games. There's some wonkiness with the controls. Yeah, like holding down the run key is just like punished in the game, which feels just really weird. Level gating in Rayman Origins is terrible. Level gating in Rayman Legends is mildly annoying. I know, right, Calandras? I don't even wear that shirt almost ever either. The Snakes on a Plane shirt. But it's so amazing that I was actually wearing that when we played that game. Untitled Story. Yeah, that's come up a few times, Furba. Untitled Story is a weird one because for a very long time I thought I had played it, and I don't believe I actually have. And it's been recommended a few times, but I haven't actually played it. Based on what I've seen and my general appeal of Metroidvanias, I would probably give it like a 6.5 or so. Which is a pointless statement, because I'm like, here's what I might rate a game that I haven't played. But, you know... Battle Block Theater is more humor than anything else than platformer, but it was a lot of fun. Celeste, of course, but I assume you are familiar with Celeste. Celeste is an excellent platformer as well. We got any more in our 7? Yeah, we got some in our 7.5s anyway, right? Because we got EG. That's another one of the early era freeware classic indies. Kind of not too long after Cave Story. I'm probably recommending too many at this point, but we'll probably stop after the 7.5s. There's some neat attention to detail. This is more of a run and gun platformer, so it kind of depends on what you're looking for. Like Celeste being like a pure platformer, and this EG being like a run and gun platformer. Shovel Knight being kind of in between, but more on the combat side than the pure platformer side, right? Yeah, sure, and yet it moves. That's, I mean, I guess you would call it a platformer. It's in a weird spot. I guess it's kind of a puzzle platformer. You're kind of rotating the landscape to platform your way around, sort of thing. But yeah, like it depends on how far we're stretching the definition, right? Like we probably don't want to include "and yet it moves in trine" in this segment. Cyclist is not what I'm actually going to recommend, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. This is a completely casual, like super casual, just chill platformer with a little challenge and not a whole lot to it, but it's just a cute little thing that was fun and has some good chiptune music. There's Cannibal. Inversion is technically a platformer, but again, not really what we're looking for here. That's more of a experience game. How do I even describe Inversion without going into detail about it? It's you know, it's a cute little platformer that there's a little bit more to it than that. How about that? That's I guess that's what I'll say. Action Turnip is technically a arcade platformer. Gunstar Heroes is the best game on the Genesis. That's a run and gun platform. Well, it's run and gun. There's not really much platforming involved, but so yeah, Bleed and Bleed 2 are run and gun kind of platformers that are pretty cool. 1001 Spikes, back to the peer platformer that yeah, like it has shades of I Want to Be the Guy. Like it almost feels like it wants to be a haha gotcha, this is BS sort of experience, but it mostly isn't that. And it was good. Spelunky and Super Meat Boy. Cool. Yeah, you'd probably like 1001 Spikes. Freedom Planet. Yeah, I would put Freedom Planet in this category. This is a basically a Sonic fan game, but the thing about Freedom Planet that is important is that in Sonic games, past like the first level, if you go fast without having the level memorized, it's awful. You're just going to like fly off into a bottomless pit and die in a Sonic game for going fast. You're basically punished for going fast. And you weren't really punished for going fast in Freedom Planet, so I liked it quite a bit more than Sonic games because of that alone. There's Rayman Origins. Yeah, sure. Pause Ahead is an interesting recommendation there. It's not exactly a platformer as far as traditionally, but you're basically pausing time to be able to move through levels. So it's effectively a platformer. It's a neat little mechanic. And since you say you're not big on the Metroidvanias, so I'm not the biggest on Metroidvanias either. There's a few that I've liked. They tend to be the lighter Metroidvanias. So we already mentioned Cave Story and Ori and the Blind Forest. Those are both Metroidvanias, but not too heavy on the backtracking. Hydro Castle Labyrinth is definitely a Metroidvania with lots of upgrades and lots of backtracking, but for whatever reason, like this one just clicked with me, and I actually like just enjoyed 100%ing it. That's another obscure freeware one, but that's probably not what you're looking for if you're looking for the to avoid Metroidvania stuff. And then likewise, Hollow Knight, that's more focused on the boss fights. Like I think the boss fights are really solid. But otherwise, you've got a lot of kind of tedious Metroidvania stuff. So if you're looking for more on the platforming rather than like the boss fight stuff, Hollow Knight probably not what you're looking for. Iconoclast's appeal isn't really the platforming. It's more, I don't know, the kind of overall package. The visuals and the narrative are probably the strongest aspects. of that. Doki Doki Literature Club, good platformer. No. Gabby Kitty is an interesting one. That's a run and gun, like kind of a run and gun semi-casual platformer. Let's throw our 7.5s. That's probably at least most of our solid recommendations. Yeah, Super House of Dead Ninjas is kinda just a worse Spelunky. Same with like Downwell. That they're similar enough to Spelunky, and Spelunky does those things better that it's kind of hard to recommend them, even though they're both good games.